In a press conference today, Habs GM Kent Hughes heavily implies that a goalie trade is coming probably within the next month. We'll be diving into that. Plus, the Habs outscore the Red Wings 4-1 down the stretch in a massive comeback, but unfortunately come up just short. All that and more on this episode of Habs Digest. Let's just dive straight into the video, Jesse. And I mean, look, they didn't get the win, but at least they came back. This was just a great performance from them tonight. They showed a ton of heart. There were some players making some really good plays despite the overtime loss. Look, Detroit won the opening draw, and the Habs really didn't have much possession in overtime. Sometimes that happens, but it was the performance down the stretch that was really impressive, Jesse. We see some of the guys, Nick Suzuki having a wonderful game, snapping his 10-game goal streak, snapping the goalless streak, snapping the Habs power play woes of being 0 for 25 or something. He finally scores a power play goal. Evans was good. Armia with the short-handed goal. Struble continues to impress. As we take a look at the box score, feel free to pause if you like. Shout out Mitchell Stevens, 71% on the draw. What an awesome game, Jesse. I mean, this was the Habs down 3-0. It felt like it was over, but they just started getting back. The crowd stayed into it for the whole time and managed to force to overtime. I mean, what impressed you about the Habs tonight?
For me, it was just the heart, really, just being able to really battle back from being, down 3-0, just to really, see my boy Gustav there at the end, to be able to tie it up 4-4. Like, you have to feel like Detroit was even happy just to get it to overtime at the end. Like, there was a big reversal in this game where they felt like they had it in the bag. The Detroit commentators were already talking about the next game. And I love that the way they were just able to battle. Like, in that third period, it just felt like we were going to tie it up. The energy in the crowd was just there. It was electric. And just to see that actually happen was just so beautiful tonight, just to really have that heart, to really just battle all the way right to the end. That's what I was really just the most happy about.
Yeah, and it was a game with a lot of people's eyes on it, especially Habs fans, because number one, of course, the news earlier today, Alex Newhook's going to be out 10 to 12 weeks, and we heard David Savard is going to be out a bit longer than expected, and that just adds to the injury list. As you can see, Cap Friendly here tweeted that the Habs have 8 players and almost $25 million over a quarter of their roster on the IR/LTIR. Of course, Savard, Kirby, Dach, Newhook, Harris, Harvey Pinard, Xhekaj, Wideman, and Price is making up about half that number, but still, he counts, and it's crazy that the Habs have been so injured, so they had to come change up the lines, and that was the big story coming into tonight. Of course, with Slafkovsky playing down with Pearson and Evans, and look, Slafkovsky and Pearson near the bottom, Evans near the top because he was so good on the penalty kill, but then you also got Gallagher and Dvorak with Anderson was a new line tonight. But Jesse, Josh Anderson, I thought, as Coach Marty said, he said Josh Anderson, he said today, like Anderson, like he's back. You watched him play. He dropped the mitts in that game against Florida, and he pummeled the guy. And then he comes out tonight, and I thought he had another really good game. And the biggest thing for Josh Anderson tonight that I thought was that pass to Gustav Lindstrom. It's 4-3. Josh Anderson finds himself with a puck on his stick in the slot. How many times have we seen him just blindly turn towards the net and fire it, hoping it goes in for his first goal? He did that in the last few games, but not tonight. He looks, Monahan's there. No one even saw Gustav Lindstrom sneaking in from the back, but Anderson did, and he pots the goal. I thought he looks different. And Coach Marty said he's forgotten about the goalless thing. He's just playing, assuming that's not a thing, and it really seemed to show.
Yeah, definitely. If you just keep doing those small things right, for sure the goals are going to come eventually for Josh Anderson. That being said, I still don't believe that he deserved that promotion to that second line. With Juraj Slafkovsky, he's racking up the points over the last couple of games. This is when you want to continue to build up his confidence. I felt like there was a couple times tonight where it's like Slav made a pretty good skilled play, but because maybe some of his teammates, didn't have that same level of skill, at this point in their careers, it kind of affected him in a negative way. So, that being said, I think it was about right that Josh Anderson did get removed from that top power play, which is something we've been talking about for a while. But now to see him after one game kind of get promoted over Slav, I don't feel like that was enough to move the needle, but it is true that he's moving the right things, that he is doing the right things right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's just someone a lot of Habs fans have eyes on, and that goalless streak, I mean, we just saw him trying to score, trying to score, trying to score. But now it looks more like he's trying to create. And he's like, you know what? I haven't got a goal. It'll come eventually. Let's just try and create for everyone else. It was good. But yeah, I mean, Cole and Nick Suzuki back on the top line with Sean Monahan. And I know you have some thoughts on this, Jesse. It took us a long time to see Nicole back together. And let alone with Monahan, this is something that Coach Marty has talked about, this combination earlier in the season. It took them a while to get there, but now they're there. What did you think of that top line? Do you think they produced at the level we wanted? I know Caufield's struggling a bit with his shot, his goal scoring recently, but I thought overall they worked very well and had a lot of dominant shifts.
Right from the beginning of the game, I thought that they were looking great in a lot of ways. They were really our bright spot in a lot of ways in that first period. I feel like Sean Monahan does a really great job of creating space on the ice for Cole Caufield himself being a smaller player, which is so important, right? And this seemed like obvious. We knew that this line would be good together, and even Martin St. Louis said it's like we know that this line is going to be good, so that's why he was trying other things. But my opinion, not to be like a sour Sally or anything like that, but it's like I wouldn't want to wait till there's like so many injuries to make this line happen. If we felt like, okay, we know this is going to be good, as soon as we're trying something else and that's not working, we got to go back to this Monahan, Suzuki, and Cole line, right? We got to ice the best possible lineup that gives our chance, of winning. And, again, you don't want to kind of play that game, but it's as if we're kind of icing a lineup like that from, opening night, maybe that affects, how some of the injuries played out. Of course, we don't want to play that game, right? But I kind of wish that Martin St. Louis would have came to this line combination earlier, just because it's so obvious.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, the Habs basically iced 5 centers tonight. They did. I think Monahan took the fewest, except maybe Stevens, just because he was a fourth liner playing only 8 minutes. But yeah, it was an interesting line, and my gosh, did they ever create chances? The amount of times, like, I feel like they created more offensive zone turnovers than I've seen from any Habs line this year, except for maybe the occasional, Pizzetta Evans, Harvey Pinard little forecheck session that they do sometimes when they're together. But it was a really good line. I thought it was really good. But again, like this game just came down to heart. Down 3-0. They fought back. Armia with a shorthanded goal. He's a shorthanded merchant. He always seems to do well on the penalty kill. He's been quite impressive recently. Some whack lines for sure, but a really, really great performance from Montreal. And they got the loss. But hey, honestly, like you said before the show, Jesse, it's a moral victory. Down 3-0 to losing in overtime. I think you can swallow that. But let's move on to Kent Hughes. And look, there was the interview today, the press conference for the Samuel Montembeault signing, and they asked Sam Montembeault about 6 seconds worth of questions. Then he was gone, and then it was just Kent Hughes left to answer for everything else. And I don't really have any pictures of quotes. Kent looks a little disgusted in this, and maybe I took a poor screenshot. But at the same time, I don't have any like direct pictures of quotes, but I can recap this for you, and I suggest you go watch it because it's very informative. He was asked questions in English and French, Jesse, but at least my opinion, and I want to get your opinion on this too, is that during this press conference, Kent Hughes heavily implied that they don't want to have a 3-goalie situation heading into the end of the season. He was asked, like, he said, before the season, did we think we were going to have 3 goalies till the end? No. He's like, and I don't want to reveal all the plans to the other teams in the league, what our plans are, but I don't know. And he said, for someone like Jake Allen, this is really not ideal. And it was just kind of over and over and over again. He kind of heavily implied that a goalie was getting moved. And, the time is somewhat running out. You don't want to make this a last-minute move. Jesse, what did you think of what he had to say today?
I think it's completely on par with the plan that he's had all along. And I think a very smart one at that, where with Samuel Montembeault, before giving him this contract extension, you wanted to see him play just a little bit more. You felt pretty good about what you had. But if you're Kent Hughes, if you're the general manager of the Montreal Canadiens, before giving this 3-year deal, you want to see a little bit more hockey getting played. So you wait to the quarter mark. Okay, cool. He's still playing really great. Let's give him that 3-year extension. That being done, now that gives us this opportunity to rectify this whole situation that hasn't been ideal at all, which is moving one of our goalies, which, every day seems a little bit more likely that it is going to be Jake Allen, especially after this contract extension, that we all saw coming. But what's so interesting to that point is in this press conference, he says about Kaiden Primeau, it's like, this situation isn't fair for him. But you're in the NHL. So it's kind of this happy sort of balance, kind of thing like that at the same time. So to kind of come right out there and say it, on a team where we're kind of so important, putting such an emphasis on development, definitely feels like he would want to do something to help with that situation for Kaiden Primeau. So saying that, okay, we wasn't our plan to have 3 goalies for this entire year. You have to feel like at some point Kent Hughes is definitely going to make a move on that. And obviously Jake Allen seems like the most likely candidate.
It sure seems like that. And again, he didn't officially reveal anything, and we really don't know. And like he was asked, oh, like, are there struggles or problems with it? He's like, I mean, Samuel Montembeault just earned himself a 3-year extension that pays him over 9 million. Clearly didn't affect him too much. But it's like at the same time, like you said, Jesse, it's not fair to Primeau, and it's also not fair to Allen, a guy at the veteran stage of his career, having to be part of a trio and then getting tossed into a game here against Detroit, which is a quite high scoring team. This is their 15th game scoring 4+ goals, and they're 13-0-2 in games where they score 4+ goals. And you throw Jake Allen in there off after like almost a week of rest kind of thing. It's just like, it's tough. It's a tough situation for everyone. It's not fair to a lot of these guys. And I thought the overall tone was like, something's got to be done. But all we can do is wait and see. This game tonight from Allen definitely wasn't his best. He made some phenomenal saves later in the game, like that one against Dylan Larkin on the cross crease. But hey, he kept us in the game at the end. He helped us get to overtime. It's good, but we just got to wait and see what Kent Hughes has in store for us. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 9,000 subs, very close to 10. So if you haven't hit the button, hit it now. We'd really appreciate it. I'm Josh Gosse for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.